And that's right, Loma me, Guillaume, Crame, Golome, Kissime, Bandime, Guillaume, Mandingo me, Beleme, Vame. All of us, we are one people. Good morning and welcome to a very interesting edition of the program, straight from the heart and sky, 107.1. We are here again today. We're here Monday to Friday, by the way. Today is Friday and it's the start of the weekend. I know many of you are preparing for the weekend. This morning, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak on issues on your mind. But before that, I'm going to set the basis by giving you a number of developments, number of interesting developments that maybe you may not have to go looking around for a particular issue to speak on, but you may just want to speak on some of the issues that we're going to be highlighting and interesting developments, at that matter. My name is Matthias Labindi. Today is the 6th day of August 2021. We're going to be right back after this break.
People, can't you hear the song? Can't you see the shining sun? You've been sleeping so long. No time for bounce, no time to do wrong. Say the war is gone. My people be strong. Like we wake up and do something. Like we try to settle things the way we used to be. Maybe it's all we need. In our love, it will go. Wokama, wena moto moja, wokama, muna moto moja, ungano, munyamano, wokama, salune, labire, abore, guinea, wokama.
And that's right, Sierra Leoneans, Liberians, Nigerians, Guinea, and wherever you are from, we are all one people. Good morning. Today is Friday. Oh, wow. I know many of us, Mopulu back there, my, junior brother, Marcus, and all the other guys, you can see the glittering smile on their faces every time when it's Friday, because that's the time they have. This is the junction, at which they embark on, extravagant weekend, extravagant life. And Julius Boki as well, so when Fridays around, look, you can see the smile. It's different always. The smiles on your faces can all be different. You can tell that, the guys will certainly, abuse the opportunity of relaxation. Instead of them resting, they don't want to do it. They go around. Imara Mopolo, Bacchus, and all the guys, Julius, all the guys are just. But I know many of you at various offices here. I'm just, teasing my colleagues here. But I know all of you do that when it's Friday. You see that, where's culture? Everyone get ready. Put on culture from their homes. They get to work. By the time it's 12 o'clock, some people don't even get back to work anymore. When it's 12, they leave. Can we work the same full hours, except our institutions say that, when it's Friday, 12 o'clock, we all leave? Can you just focus on your job and not run away from your work, and then your friends are calling and asking you, man, where are you? Why did you leave the job? Man, just be failing for me because I can't make it. Wow, it's true. You're sitting somewhere, bending elbow and all of that. That is not fair. But anyway, a lot of things on our plate this morning. The plate is so loaded, I don't know which one to start from. But I want to start with the religious man. Let me say, first of all, good morning to a big brother. Who's gradually becoming a friend, Councillor Jerome Verdier. Let me say good morning to you, sir. You're there in the United States. You follow closely. I didn't know that, most of the time I think that the only time you follow the show is when you are, scheduled to appear on the show. But the messages I've received, lately, I think you are an ardent listener, a religious listener of this platform. Thank you so much. Thanks for, respecting the work we do. Thanks for recognizing our job. Thanks for realizing or observing that this young man has a voice, and his voice needs to be tamed in a way that it can continue to remain independent, credible, and so I pray so much so that I can be that independent person all the time in this country. Good morning. So let's go to Nigeria. You see, most of the time when we broadcasters come and talk about religious people, it's not that we are not religious. For me personally, I'm not religious. I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, but religiosity, most of the time has not, changed the world for us. So I think we can be Christians and believe in ourselves, believing the doctrine, and all of that. We don't have to go everywhere. Well, we are a Christian. Oh, no, I don't know. I don't like, being too religious. So yes, let's go to Nigeria. There is this man of God called Apostle Johnson Suleman. Johnson Suleman, is a respected man of God in Nigeria. Sometimes he engages into things. He says things that sometimes drag him into serious controversy. Bloggers and several individuals wrong with some of the comments he make. At his church, doing the preaching. And even doing lecture time. Few days ago, I shared a video with my colleague that where the apostle is her saying that the new thing that is happening now in the world, and I want to agree with him partly, right? That when bloggers want to set up a YouTube channel, the first thing is that in order to make that YouTube channel to sell, they must first of all get at individuals that have earned for themselves respect in the public, that have earned for themselves popularity. They've worked over time. Once they can get something, whether it is a makeup story, because bloggers are creative writers. Bloggers, they narrate stories sometimes that do not exist, but they write the story so much of the time to sometimes get the details. Some of them only run for the caption and all of that. So he says people use his name most of the time in Nigeria. When young people want to set up the Facebook accounts, they want to do, comedy and all of that, they use his name to sell themselves. He said he doesn't have a problem with people using his name. Because anyone who is not talked about most of the time, that person probably is not an important person in society. But if you're talking about him, if you're using his name, right? If you're using his name, you're talking negative things about him, even though the things that you're saying are not true. But in the end, you're telling lies about him, and you are getting paid from YouTube. You are getting paid from Facebook. Please, he's saying that you people should make yourselves available to him, where all of you will sit down and discuss business. That, okay, Apostle Suleman, I am going to be lying against you every time on social media page. But by the time I get my pay from YouTube, this is going to be your cut. He's requesting for a bargain. He's asking for a pay. For those who always insult him, for those who always say negative things about him, they should pay him. They should not just use his name negatively and just go on making money at his expense. They should also pay him because it is his name. They do not have the content. His name is the content. His character is the content. So therefore, using his name to sell your blog, to sell your YouTube channel, to do all the things that you want to do, you must be able to pay him. I was laughing as I listened to that. But this is not really what I want to talk about, Apostle Johnson Suleman this morning. What I want to talk about is that his latest video that even BBC Pidgin, because there's this program that BBC runs. I don't know when it's going to come to Liberia where, BBC will come here and run a colloquial program for us. At least some of our things can be said in colloquial. I followed a number of things, from Nigeria, BBC Pidgin. They talk their normal, Nigerian parlance. So he was as usual now preaching in his church and all of that, and he made a lot of comments. In his words, Apostle Johnson Suleman, as a man of God, said he was praying for COVID-19 to not end. Because since COVID-19 came, in fact, because of COVID-19, he bought another private jet. Because of COVID-19, he bought another private jet. And now making it 3. So he has 3 private jets now. And since COVID-19 came, he has been resting. He has been relaxing. He and his wife, they've been together. They've been having some good time. And sometimes it feels like it should not go away because he spent some time resting and all of that. Well, as a child of God, if you must seek rest, right? If you must seek rest from whatever thing you're doing, must you wish that evil befall the people, the flocks that you claim to be leading? Because the very COVID-19 that he's talking about, he wished that it never ends because it will give him more time to rest. This COVID-19 is affecting members of his congregation. He's been able to buy 3 private jets. How many people in his congregation, even some of them have survived even on $1 a day? The flocks that he's leading, how successful are they? That's the reason why sometimes so many people don't have time for this Christianity thing. There's a man I'm trying to have a conversation with, from Nigeria there. This man, I don't know what is a critic of the Bible or so, but from his analysis, you see that he comes from a different background when it comes to religious thing. Now, here is Apostle Johnson Suleiman saying to us that, well, he just bought a private jet and he wished that COVID-19 doesn't end and all of that because it's giving him some time to rest. When God created the heaven and the earth, he did that work for 6 days. The seventh day, he did not create earthquake in a word because he wanted to rest. The seventh day, he did not cause pestilence in a word because he wanted to rest. The seventh day, he did not cause women to go barren because he wanted to rest. The seventh day, he did not cause all the animals in the forest that he made, that he created, to die because he wanted to rest. He rested simply because that was the appropriate time to rest. The thing that is affecting many clergymen nowadays is that when the churches are open, when they open a church, it becomes their property. So every time you hear someone preach from that particular church, is Apostle Suleiman, Apostle Suleiman, Apostle Suleiman, every teaching Apostle Suleiman, and all of that. So it becomes their property. Now, to talk about rest, no one put such burden on you. God called you, but he did not say in calling you, other people should not also work along with you, right? There are pastors in the church. If you think you're tired, you don't have to say COVID-19 should not end because it's going to give you time to rest. If you're tired, you can leave the pulpit and allow other people to preach. I think that other way you can also rest. You can even stay away from the church for a whole week. The activities of the church will still go on because there are still preacher men in your church that also should come up. But the sad thing is, nowadays, Christianity, if the man, the founding father of the church, is not exhausted completely, or if he doesn't die, it's something that you may just continue hearing him over and over while other people are silent. But anyway, let's listen to Apostle Johnson Suleiman himself, and then you yourself will draw your conclusion from it.
In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, the third, I have three. The third one. In COVID, I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting. Why people were complaining? My wife asked me, say, can life be this sweet? Am I talking to somebody here? No stress. I read on the net, was it yesterday? Somebody sent it to me. There's a rumor going around that I have a machine that prints money. I like that rumor. Say it should be investigated. He has a machine that prints money. I said, they say somebody says it true. I say it's true. It's risky. I said, I didn't know. I didn't know it's risky. I already bought the machine. When you speak in tongues, you are printing money.
Did you hear that properly? Okay, maybe we may have to play it back. In COVID, he bought another jet, making it 3. The third one. In COVID, his wife said to him, can life be this sweet? So all along he got married, his wife has never enjoyed life until COVID came to Liberia, until COVID came into the world. Are you listening to a clergyman? Are you listening to a preacher man? Is that part of preaching or bragging? Let's listen to that again.
In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, the third, I have 3. The third one. In COVID, I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting. Why people were complaining? My wife asked me, say, can life be this sweet? Am I talking to somebody here? No stress. I read on the net, was it yesterday? Somebody sent it to me. There's a rumor going around that I have a machine that prints money. I like that rumor. Say it should be investigated. He has a machine that prints money. I said, they say somebody says it true. I say it's true. It's risky. I said, I didn't know. I didn't know it's risky. I already bought the machine. When you speak in tongues, you are printing money.
Apostle Johnson Suleiman, to say the least, this bragging of yours about you buying 3 jets and even wishing that COVID-19 doesn't leave the world, This one is way below the belt of preaching. I don't know what is preaching, but you just simply went over there to hurt the souls of some of the very people you're leading that are sitting over there. Some of them, their children cannot even afford to go to school. They do not even have it to take care of their families properly. They sit down under your voice. The only thing you can tell them is that a pandemic that is killing people around the world, you as a man of God, you went down on your knees to pray that it doesn't end, because that is the only way you're going to have rest. I don't know how to term it. I don't want to be euphemistic in, describing your statement, sir, but I think it is way below the belt. It is very, very, below the belt, to say the least. That you're saying, in COVID, I got this. In COVID, and listen, man, what is this? Is this Christianity? Are you a child of God? Which child of God prays for evil to befall the very people that he's leading? Tell me, are you a Christian? Are you a preacher man? Were you called by God? Or you getting drunk with the money you're earning from the congregation? You're somehow tipsy now because you have a lot of money. You've earned so much money from the offering, from the tithe. How about the faithful tithers in your church? Yeah, that cannot even afford 1 square meal a day. And you're saying COVID should not end. You were praying that COVID should not end because at least at that time, you bought yourself a private jet. You did not make that money overnight. You didn't make that money by speaking in tongues. You made that money by making the people believe that as long as the more they gave, the more God multiplies them. Fact. But must you come back to put it in their faces that, hey, listen, while some of you do not even have it in your homes to eat, I have been able to buy a private jet. Do you know the cost of a private jet? And you're talking about having 3? Wow, man, let's move on. Oh my God. This is very, very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Let's move on to another development. Now, you see, for some time now, we've been hearing the business people, at the Freeport of Monrovia, Liberians businesses, right, complaining about situations affecting them, involving the APM terminals, involving, LRA and all of that. As if their concerns are not really germane. The government of Liberia ignored everything they said and brought an increase in some of the things, the very things they were speaking against. Right now, they go through a lot. New charges at the port. Now, the new tariff at the Freeport of Monrovia, and that is instituted by the CDC, new business, as people are calling it, new business scaling strategy. First of all, the CDC government is noted for not respecting the laws of this country. That is a fact. Like Big Brother Eugene Fagon would say, facts and fiction. It's a fact. The president is a lawbreaker. It's a fact. They approves. All right. The government in general breaks laws. How can you get into a business dealing with a company unbeknownst to the legislature? Today, that the lawmakers, the legislature, the Senate, by the way, has set up an ad hoc committee headed by Senator Edwin Snow of Bome County to investigate MedTech Scientific that has now been contracted, replacing BVAC. And immediately that company was contracted, because you talk about scientific now, maybe it's using some digital, equipment and things, technological devices that are very costly. So therefore, they need to increase tariffs so they can be able to keep, to take care of their equipment and everything and staff as well. So immediately the government contracted this new company. We saw an increase in tariff at the Freeport of Monrovia. Today, a 40-footer container, group H from $190 is now being elevated from $190 to $460. All right. So additional $300 per importer. 30% on a group H container, that is $460 flat plus $300. Talking about 30 equal $9,000 plus $460 plus your custom duties and other charges at the port. Do you know what we're talking about? This is the only country where you see business people, Liberian businesses, are still struggling. You see about 6-7 persons. They get on one container. I have my aunt down water side. She goes to China sometimes. She buys 2-3, bay as they call it, right? So when it's about, she has about 3-4, she will wait until all of them buy their goods. About 6-7 women, they buy their goods, they get one container and stock all of the goods in that container. They make sure that it's sealed. Then they get on the plane and get back home. After maybe a month, then the container will come to them. They join again, they put money together and go to the port and free that container. Then they get back wherever that container will park. If the container will stop somewhere around the port, sometimes they offload directly from the port. So you send your truck and you take your own goods and take it to your store. Now, all of these things have increased. The good thing is the Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to investigate that. We hope that Representative Edwin Snow, who also feel guilty because of the existence of APM terminals in the country, I hope that he will lead this particular charge responsibly and ensure that business people are relieved, because what they are threatening to do now is to shut down the economy. If they do, that's going to affect the very government. The government is not going to be raising money to this Meditech. How would you even get into business dealing with a company unknown to the legislature? Who told you that because you are a government, it means you can just do whatever you want to do? You can just disrespect the laws of the country. Is this how you want to run That's the reason why some of your young ministers, directors, and think they are brave to steal close to $1 million, because it's a lawless government we're running. Okay, now you offended, right? Because I said lawless. The president is lawless. Oh, you don't know? This man uses a private jet in this country, like Johnson Suleiman is bragging to his congregation that he now has 3 private jets. Unfortunately, our president cannot afford to buy a private jet. That's why the many years he played soccer for. So he had to become president so that his friend, if this guy was his long-term friend, this guy would have given him this jet. Okay, of course, he used to use the jet sometime while he was playing football and thing. But now he's president. The jet has now become his personal property at the expense of the Liberian people, in total violation of the code of conduct of the country. And now you know the reason why I say he's a lawless president. Anyway, like I said, I'm just going to be introducing a few topics and you can speak on some of the things on your mind. All right, let's move on to another development quickly. Still at the legislature here, we've been talking about a video that circulated on social media just at least for a day. Just for a day. The poster of that video did not just delete the video, but he deleted his entire page. I still have the video. I just showed the video this morning to my boss, T-Max. He watched it. He couldn't even watch it for at least, a few seconds. He said, no, take this thing from my site. Who did this? You know him now, right? It's an action old man. Who did this? And he was really angry about that. So Joseph Jake Brown is an NSA agent, a retired U.S. Marine. All right? Someone who is believed to be suffering from cognitive impairment, according to them. Folks, something is playing below there, guys. You got to check it. Yeah. So this guy, according to the information, he suffers from cognitive impairment or mental derangement, but he's still in the NSA. He's an NSA agent. According to what he wrote on the video, he used the video to threaten a fellow that probably knows something about him or someone close to him. He threatened the guy, say, one more word from you, I'm going to release your entire face. Meaning, Jackie Brown, in his mind, whether he's a father or not, whether he's a lunatic or not, whether he's suffering from mental impairment or not, or whatever medical complication he may be going through, he did not take into consideration the child in the video that is around maybe 7, 8, 9 years old. But his concern was about using this particular video to silence someone who knows something about him. That is not a real painful part of it, right? What hurts mostly is that the legislature, the House of Representatives, the people wanted to jail Jackie Brown. The court, the justice in chamber, Joseph Dangbe, issued a stay order on that particular action by the legislature, by the House of Representatives, jail Jackie Brown for bringing, for humiliating such a kid, for damaging that child, for supporting a pedophile in destroying a child. So now, two separate branches work coordinatively, but it seems someone has more power right now, from what I'm looking at. The justice in chamber said, no, you people should hold on. There's going to be a conference on Monday, according to the information. There's going to be a conference on Monday where Jackie Brown, his lawyer, the Supreme Court, representatives from the house or from the lower house. They're all going to be there in that conference. Whatever the outcome of the conference is going to be, we're certainly going to inform you. But at least Jake Brown, regardless of his many years of security training, should have gone to jail at least. I mean, if we still have Bella Yala, such a man, you send him to Bella Yala for a month. When he comes out, his senses will get in tight. Because it is only a man who has not heard the cry of a child will treat a child like that. We'll consider that word. This is a child, right? Well, I don't care because I've not heard the cry of a child in my house of my own. Yeah, so I care less about this child. Whether you've heard the cry of a child in your house or whatsoever. But why not think about, there's something they call, thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box is not basically, it's a figurative expression. It's not that you are late human being. Yes, of course, we live in a mental box. But until we can sometimes bust out of that box and think outside of it, we may not be able to take, sound decisions at some point. And that's the thing that affected Jake Brown, that today he's a subject of discussion in the country. A man who covers a sexual molester. Imagine such a man having something to do, oral sex, putting his penis in the mouth of that 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid. As old as the man in the video is, Jake Brown is covering his face simply because this guy knows something probably about Jake Brown or someone connected to Jake Brown. And he said to him, even I know you, my man, there's the same thing you did to get the job that you have. So meaning this guy is a ritualist who uses children to extract their stars so that he can get famous, so that he can get appointed, so that he can get job. I wonder why he went to school. But that is his question to answer. Okay, so Jake Brown said, I know how you got there's the same thing you did to get the job. But one more word from you, I'm going to release your entire face. An elderly man is seen sitting in a video, brave, heartlessly removing his penis and putting it in that kid's mouth. And Jake Brown, who is an agent of the National Security Agency, I am told that he's been relieved of his job. But these things don't work. That guy will be working. We saw people in this town, police raping people, women at police stations. They gone back in the police in this country. All right. So yes, that's another issue, folks. We just hope that the conference will lead to Jake Brown going to jail, or if not going to jail, he should release that individual. He should expose that individual so that person can be prosecuted. The plate is loaded. Please, let's move on. Yeah, let me open the lines. Let's have a conversation. And at 8 o'clock, we have another video that we're going to play for you. There is a young Liberian lady. I don't know if she's the only person there. I'm sure that there are several individuals there in Egypt, Liberians that are stranded. This video is circulating on social media. We gain interest in it. We also want to help to launch the advocacy for her to see how best government can get involved. We try to reach out to the immigration boss at 8 o'clock. If we get him on, we're going to ask him whether he has seen the video. What is the immigration doing about this to ensure that this Liberian citizen or any of them that are there, no matter the number there, they can be brought back to the country. This is human trafficking. And this is where the government of Liberia is failing gradually, because that the U.S. embassy spoke about that the government is not really taking the fight. The government should take the fight against human trafficking seriously. Let's hear you briefly. Call us on the numbers 0777-777-107, 0777-221-223. The numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. My name is Matthias Labindi. Here we speak directly from our heart. Let's hear you. Let's hear this first person on the line. Good morning. All right, let's do that again. Call us on the numbers 0777-777-107, 0777-221-223. The numbers you can call us on to participate. We are live on Facebook on Sky Communications Liberia Facebook page. We are also live on our YouTube channel, Sky FM and TV Liberia. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Okay, my name is Alexandra, and this is my first time calling on your station.
Thank you, Alexandra.
I'm calling for thank you too. I'm calling for two reasons that you raised that are very dear to my heart.
Go ahead.
The first one is what you said and said about Nonsense Suleiman. I hesitate calling him an apostle because he represents nothing that is in the Bible. The reason why people like him are so many in this world is because of two things. One, Jesus actually said that there will be many, M-A-N-Y, false prophets, pastors, apostles. He said that, so it's no surprise. The second one is that people don't read the Bible to know who is who.
Yeah.
So they fall for anything.
Yeah.
Like you rightly said, because there was no reason why I have issues with pastors who are wealthy. Why are you rich if not to expand your wealth to help the less privileged?
Yeah.
Why would you, like you said, to buy a plane, apart from the cost of the plane itself, you have to pay for the pilot at least two.
Yeah.
Whether you fly or not, you must pay them.
Yeah.
You must pay for the air, the hangar, where the plane rests.
Yeah.
Whether you fly or not, you must pay.
Yeah.
You must pay for fuel, maintenance, all that. If you calculate that just for one purchase, one-off, you spend at least between 3 to 4 million. This is a small plane now. Moving forward, every year you pay between 500 to 600,000 US dollars. Times it by 3. He has 3. Oyedepo has 4. The others are joining the jet set crew. What happened to the following Jesus Christ as he is weak and lowly? Where is this boasting from? Because they're not of Christ. Here are the people healing this man who is telling them he has bought his third jet. Isn't that bewitchment? Anyway, the second point. With this guy, with this telephone, the Bible says we shouldn't hate anybody, but I really do not like pedophiles. These are people who prey on the innocence of children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damage their bodies and their mind. And we have no structure in place to penalize people like this. Thank God I haven't seen this video. I want to say thank you that you even describe it so we know how people this person is.
If you watch the video, what's the name again, sir?
I don't want to.
No, I don't even want you to watch it as a mother, maybe as a sister, as an aunt. Don't watch it. You're going to spoil your day. You may even spoil your entire week. Don't watch it. I told you this morning, my boss, Tim, has watched it for the first time from my phone, and he's currently devastated in his office. So don't even bother watching it. What I've said, I think I've painted a picture. And for me, personally, I think Jake, regardless of his security training, should be behind bars by now. If we are running a serious state. Because
he should stay behind bars. He should be asked to release the information of that person who he found that child. That person should be put behind bars for life. Unfortunately, we're not in a system where, we have some like Sharia law, where you castrate the person. Okay. I'm all for castration. This is pure wickedness.
All right. Thank
you. This is just a service.
I know.
God help this country. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thanks for your contribution. You do the same call us in the numbers 07777 107 221 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program. And this video has been circulating, just for a day. Jake Brown, in fact, realized that, he blundered. He immediately cleared off all of the information about himself on social media. And unfortunately for him, the video had already been downloaded. I got it, in fact, even before he deleted his entire page. But it's been long. Now, let me say one more thing. Like I said, it's your time to say what is on your mind. But I also thought to just bring in some other developments that you may have interest in, like the lady who just phoning and spoke on, Apostle Johnson Suleiman. Well, this is an apostle, madam. He's an apostle. So he calls himself an apostle. So I just want to respect him that way and call him apostle. But, his utterances about private jet and all of that. Is it a competition of who becomes the richest, clergyman? So how many of you followed the story of Samuel? How many kings in Israel did Samuel anoint, right? How many kings in Israel? Those of you who are religious followers of the Bible, who read the Bible religiously, how many kings in Israel did Samuel anoint? We're going to get back to that. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Good morning. I'm asking a question because I just want to know whether you read some anywhere around there by his worth. Good morning. Let's hear you. Good morning. All right. So you got to get back on there. Maybe there's a problem with your line. So I asked the question because I just want you to know that the thing about preaching the gospel is a servant work. It's a servant work. It is not something for profit. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Let's hear you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. David E. Harris.
Yeah, thank you for your recognition. My name is David E. Harris, and I called from my resident this morning.
All right.
Matthias, on the issue of the apostle,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say this. You see, most often we got our people attending churches. They can't afford. They make a little business, but they go to service or they go to church every time whenever the issue of contribution arises in the church, or buying chairs and buying instruments in the church, they contribute to the issue of the church, buying instruments, buying car for the pastor and other things. But Matthias, if you would really check critically, those members that are in the church, their life is not improving financially.
Maybe they're not praying. Maybe they're not praying the right way. Maybe they're not offering the right prayers.
I just want to drive a certain point. And you see, over the years, the church generates millions of dollars, and then the church cannot give back to the people that are in the church, because you observe that they got people in the church, they got 2-3 children, and sometimes their kids are not in school. There's a moment comes about in their life, things are very difficult. And for me, I expect when you got a member in the church, when things are difficult, I think the church should also be in a position to give back to their members whenever the need arises. My next issue has to do with the issue of the Gorbachev market, Matthias. I visited the Gorbachev market in recent times. I observed that around the market, behind the market, they got a stormy area there. And for me, I'm calling on national government to see how best they can fill in the storm around the market and do concrete pavement for the benefit of our market to all the people that are still there. And one of the issues I want to raise, Matthias, why is it most often national government build market houses? And those market houses they build, marketers go there to sell. When they make the garbage or the dirt, MCC go and clear the dirt from there. Then what is the function of the Liberal Marketing Association? Because they collect millions of dollars on a daily basis. Why are they doing the money they collect? Thank you this morning.
Thanks, Mr. Harris. Let's hear from Jacob Yaki Williams, there from the U.S., New Jersey. Good morning, Jacob. Let's hear you.
I'm interested in responding to a lady who was on earlier about castration as a way of punishing, sexual crime. And, castration is the word, but mutilation is also a crime to mutilate somebody. So they got hard labor. You can sentence somebody with hard labor and whatever. Those are all punishment to make sure the person pays the right, justice or the punishment mitigated against them that they perpetrated on the person that was the victim. So now the issue of castration, to castrate somebody is mutilation, is against, Geneva Code, is against international code like the United Nations, or crimes against humanity and all of that. So you should know that mutilation, to cut somebody part, whatever part the person you got. When you steal from somebody, you use your hand to steal.
But
guilty, you don't cut your hand.
Yaki, I think you're trying to reference, you want to connect what this lady said with female genital mutilation. Is that what you're trying to say? That
female genital mutilation. Yeah, that mutilation issue that you see international feminist organization against, which is cultural in many parts of Africa and other places in, Far East Asia, like Papua New Guinea and other places. And, which is cultural, that's not what I'm referring to. It's punishment for whosoever may have done rape or whatever that maybe she was alluding to that need to be done to somebody, castration. That's what I'm talking about. That's crime. Like if you somebody guilty for something, sexual crime, and you have to mutilate part of their body because of the crime they commit. No, that's crime also. You can't mutilate somebody body part because they commit crime.
So what? So as a father now, Yaki, as a father, what is your position on this particular thing that I just spoke about? This video of a girl, of a minor being sexually molested by an adult, and this adult is covered up by.
I got two girls children. The older one in Liberia, about 17. The younger one on the side, which is about 8 years upon, and another female, girl or boy on the way. I got my own way. I'm a lone owner, right? I'm a lone ranger. Whether I'm in Liberia, I'm not there, and somebody raped my daughter. The law will take it course, but also we have to do my own, what you call outlaw justice, right? I'm not promoting that. I'm just talking about me. So I'll not tell you definitely and break it down to you what I'll be doing. But that person, their relative will regret why they ever lived to do that. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to wait for a judge to say that a man go to jail for 9 months or 9 years or whatever, and then it depends on the inmates in the prison to deal with you, and or whatever. All the one can be happening to you.
Okay.
But you may probably not come back from that jail for your family to see you. And the second thing I want to respond to is David Harris, Harris comment about the church generating money and people who are going to tell their life is not getting better. Number one, the church is for spiritual upliftment, right? Because when you work for the church or you do things for God, God pays spiritually so that you can go to heaven. That's what people hope for, right? So it's not investment platform economically for people to carry their money and savings and expect their life to be better economically.
Oh, but why is it that the pastors, Yaki, some pastors that we know, they pick up a Bible and preach around 2-3 days. Before you get to know, they set up a church, and in less than no time, Yaki is reconnecting. We don't have that time right now. Well, I hope you get us back. You get back on. Let's hear from this other person on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias, and let me say good morning to the people of Liberia.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
My name is Stephen S. Bona. I'm calling from Johnsonville.
Mr. Bona, go ahead.
Yeah, Matthias, please join me this morning. I wish one of our brought best son a happy birthday in person of Leader Henry Pedro Costa of the Council of Patriots.
Oh, happy birthday, Henry Costa.
Yeah, today is the leader birthday. And seriously, Matthias, 2023 will be replacing our son.
All right.
So that's just a birthday wish for today.
All right. Thank you
for having me.
And that's what you have on your mind. Thank you. Let's speak. Yaki, please. 30 seconds. Go ahead quickly. I was asking, why is it that sometimes people start to preach the Bible? They live in one environment. I know about 2-3 clergymen, right? Preachermen right now, that they were completely down to nothing. And in 2 years, they start preaching the gospel. They converse people. They brought people in the church. Some of them started from a porch. They started from mat houses, mat building, and all of that. Before you get to know it, they have money already. The congregation remain the same. So if you say the church is not an investment point, it's not an investment point. Why should the resources? Why should the resources be used? Solely by just the pastor and his, family. I'm not angry.
The pastor is not responsible for people taking money to him, right? The pastor is responsible for his family. He's looking for a way to take care of his family. So if preaching and telling you that the more you give, the more God will bless you, and you believe that nonsense, that the more you give your money out, that the more God will bless you, because nobody's salvation lies within the confines of their wallet or their purse. Okay? So when the pastor tell you that you believe that, it's on you that believe that nonsense to take your 10% or whatever percent and give it to them instead of saving it for your kids.
Okay? I get that.
I'm responsible for that.
I get that. Thank you, Yaki. Thank you so much, Yaki Williams there, from the US, New Jersey. Thank you. Let's hear from this person on the line and join the Voice of America. We'll come back. We'll have more interesting talking points. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please,
good morning,
Mr. Labindi, if you may.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm calling
you have to. Walk away from your monitor, please, and make your point. Your last call on this segment.
Yeah, my point is the thing about the pastor was saying. Yes, because the thing is, these days, both of the pastors, they come to get money from our brother and sister. Because when you read the book of Mark 7, they tell you, say, oh, my people have a clever way of teaching when judges and reading God's word. Because when you listen to the pastor, what he says, and he says, I'm a speaking point, they should work out.
No, it's not a nonsense. It's a gift. I disagree with you. I beg to differ. Thank you so much. Let's join. Thank you. We're going to come back and continue more of these, speaking in tongue and all of that. All of these things are gifts of the spirit. So I don't want you to say it's a nonsense, except you when you come back, please, let's get him off the line and join the Voice of America for 5 minutes of news. And after that, we continue more developments.
And tightens control over the city. Biden signed a memorandum allowing people from Hong Kong currently residing in the United States to live and work in the country for 18 months, a move likely to further inflame the already tense relations between Washington and Beijing. The decision to provide a temporary safe haven comes in response to Hong Kong's sweeping new national security law, which took effect in June. Since then, police have arrested at least 100 opposition politicians and activists and demonstrators. Changes have also been made to Hong Kong's election laws to reduce the number of directly elected lawmakers and give a largely pro-Beijing committee the leeway to nominate lawmakers aligned with the mainland government. Japan's prime minister attended a memorial on Friday commemorating the 76th anniversary of the atomic bombing of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Survivors, their relatives, and other participants marked the 8:15 a.m. blast anniversary with a minute of silence. The United States dropped its first atomic bomb on Hiroshima towards the end of the Second World War on August 6, 1945, destroying the city. The second bomb dropped 3 days later on Nagasaki. More than 200,000 people collectively in both locations died in those bombings. Philippine capital Manila returned to a lockdown Friday. This is VOA News. France's highest court Thursday requiring the public to hold a health pass to access and health workers to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 by mid-September, saying it complied with the Republic's founding charter. The Constitutional Council did strike down several clauses in the legislation, saying that enforcing the compulsory 10-day quarantine on anyone testing positive for COVID-19 impinged on freedoms. The legislation is due to come into effect next week. President Emmanuel Macron unveiled it in July as the Delta variant of the coronavirus fueled a fourth wave of infections. Pakistan is echoing warnings from Washington that neither the Afghan government nor the Taliban can get what they want if they insist on pushing ahead with military campaigns instead of working to reach an agreement through negotiations. Fighting between the government forces and Taliban fighters has surged in recent weeks, with the August 31st deadline for the U.S. military withdrawal from Afghanistan drawing ever closer, prompting U.S. forces to increase the number of airstrikes in support of the Afghan military. Yet Pakistan's national security advisor in Washington for meetings with U.S. officials said Thursday that a military victory for the Afghan government or the Taliban is simply not realistic. Moed Yusuf told a virtual audience at the U.S. Institute for Peace a compromise is inevitable. U.S. officials have insisted repeatedly that a Taliban victory is not a foregone conclusion. Firefighters are battling several blazes in Greece, including a resurgent wildfire which burned homes north of Athens. In southern Greece, fires prompted more evacuations as weather conditions worsened. Firefighters fought to save a former royal palace and the birthplace of the ancient Olympics. Greece military and personnel from European countries are assisting firefighters with battling the blazes and evacuating people. As always, for details on more news, we invite you to join us at our website, voanews.com, also on the VOA mobile app. I'm Michael Brown reporting by remote, VOA News.
Mama Liberia, wake up. Mama Liberia, wake up. Mama Liberia, wake up. Mama Liberia, so Liberia, wake up. Wake up, oh, wake up and do try to settle things the way we used to be. Maybe it's all we need in our love and control. Mama Liberia.
And that's right. Wake up, everyone. Wake up, Liberians. Wake up to the dawning of a new day. Today is the 6th day of August 2021, and I'm welcoming you to Straight from the Heart. This is the weekend's edition of the program. We usually sometimes, intersperse it with, social talks and thing, entertainment, and so, but the issues in this country are really, really heart aching. So most of the time we have to go for the heart issues. So quickly, let me recap on some of the things we've highlighted. We played you a video of a Nigerian clergyman, Apostle Johnson Suleiman, bragging to his congregation that he now has 3 private jets, and he bought one during the COVID-19, when many Nigerians were locked up in their homes and all of that, and they did not get the stimulus package as compared to America, where people were getting a lot. So in the presence of maybe poverty-stricken congregation or flocks, he's saying to them, listen, I was even praying that the COVID-19 should not end, because my wife and I, while some people were thinking, look, I'm tempted, guys, I need to play this video back. Would you guys please do that for me? I beg you, producers. Let's get that video back. Let's play, that my wife and I, my wife looked at me and said, so the clergyman enjoys the suffering of the people, because it is at that time that he has to rest. You don't want me to read some of the comments that we're getting here on the live feed. All right. So he says, well, I just bought a private jet. All right. In fact, people say I have a money-making machine in my house. But if you speak in tongue, speaking in tongue is not a skill. It's not something you go to school for. I sometimes hear people even pray, even here in Liberia. You listen to people pray on the radio. Some pastors pray on the radio and say, let's speak in tongue. No, you don't tell people to speak in tongue. It happens. They fall under the spirit. And it just happens. To say, let's speak in tongue, it's like people are practicing to speak in tongue nowadays. All these things are gifts of the spirit. I think there are 5 gifts of the spirit, right? There are other people who interpret the speaking in tongue. So the men of God, the men of God, the Nigerian men of God, Apostle Johnson Suleiman is even wrong to say when you speak in tongue you make money. No, you could be speaking in tongue, but what you're saying is basically has to maybe it's a message that God is passing through you, that he has designed a particular language that no other person will understand until someone with the same gift, with another gift of interpretation, and that person will interpret that. We went to Bible school, Sunday school, right? Yeah, we did some Sunday school studies. But let's listen to Sunday school, not Sunday school, right? Let's listen to Apostle Johnson Suleiman again.
In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, the third, I have 3. The third one. In COVID, I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting. Why people were complaining? My wife asked me, say, can life be this sweet? Am I talking to somebody here? No stress. I read on the net, was it yesterday? Somebody sent it to me. There's a rumor going around that I have a machine that prints money. I like that rumor. In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, the third, I have three. The third one. In COVID, I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting. Why people were complaining? My wife asked me, say, can life be this sweet? Am I talking to somebody here? No stress. I read on the net, was it yesterday? Somebody sent it to me. There's a rumor going around that I have a machine that prints money. I like that rumor. Say it should be investigated. He has a machine that prints money. I said, somebody says, is it true? I said, it's true. It's risky. I said, I didn't know it's risky. I already bought the machine. When you speak in tongues, you are printing money. In COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID, the third, I have three. The third one. In COVID, I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting. Why people were complaining? My wife asked me, say, can life be this sweet? Am I talking to somebody here? No stress. I read on the net, was it yesterday? Somebody sent it to me. There's a rumor going around that I have a machine that prints money. I like that rumor. Say it should be investigated. He has a machine that prints money. I said, somebody says, is it true? I said, it's true. It's risky. I said, I didn't know it's risky. I already bought the machine. When you speak in tongues, you are printing money.
All right. I don't know. I know right now there are a lot of people who are really annoyed with this particular thing. This is an irrational expression coming from, Apostle Johnson Suleiman there from Nigeria, that COVID-19. It is. So say he got married to his wife. He's not even been a good husband. And I'm not too sure he's going to blame that on the work of God. All right. On the work of God. I'm not too sure he's going to blame that, on God. That my wife has not enjoyed her matrimony because I've been busy preaching. I've been busy, taking care of God's flocks. So the only time you have to rest is when calamity, is when pestilence, is when disaster before the people. That's the time your wife enjoys life. Really? And the educated people in that church. If I were in that church, I'm out of there that very minute. I'm no longer a member of that church. Okay, if I should stay, well, maybe just read my Bible. Not listen to that man coming every time and bragging before me and all of that. When he dresses well, he tells me about how the coat, how much it's cost and all of that. You have 3 private jets in a poor country like Nigeria, where many people barely survive on 1 square meal a day, barely survive on $1 a day. You brag about owning a jet to a congregation that even some of the people there will wait for you at the door to beg you for transportation to go home. You brag about private jet. And then some of you Liberian pastors are like that too. Very bad. Wicked people. Sit down in the churches, enrich yourself overnight and see the flocks. How do you lead people? They cannot prosper, but you prosper. How is that? How does that work? That's what they brought in the USA, Matthias. If you listen to that nonsense, that you take your money, take it to him, and say, bring food in the house of the Lord, you people making the whole tithing thing will start dishonoring that Malachi 3. All right? We'll start dishonoring that particular verse of the Bible. And we'll have serious justification that Father God, we could not pay tithe into the house because the people that were receiving the tithe from us, they were provoking us. They get the tithe. Their children, when they're working, when they enter, imagine a pastor enters his church, his very church with security behind. Have you seen that? Mopolo, have you visited any churches lately? Most of the pastors nowadays, I don't know whether the altar boy or protocol boys, most of them have security. When they're moving, you see them, the guys wear dark shades. And really? Security from whom? From Satan? Oh, man. Let's move on. All right. We also talked about the situation, this guy, Jake Brown and thing. and that his video is really appalling. I just pray that Monday's conference should not see Jake Brown working as a free man in this country. He should produce that individual that molested that kid. We are still on it. We are still talking about it. The Supreme Court's decision, Justice in Chamber, Justice Joseph Nangbe's decision to place a stay order on the incarceration of this particular individual, I hope it's for a good reason. That they should have this conference. We should have a conversation with him. He should produce the individual in question. Let that individual be prosecuted. He himself should be prosecuted. For as an accomplice. All right, because he aided this guy in doing this thing. Had he not posted, I would not have known. Now that he's posted, he should be man enough. He should mind up and come up to tell us that this is the fellow who did this thing to this kid. Then we'll consider him as a hero. But until then, he's also a pedophile. We talked about the enslavement of businesses in this country by the government of Liberia through the Freeport of Monrovia, the LRA, the APM terminals and things. So as our people complain about the increase in tariff as they get their goods into the country, they thought that the government would have listened to them. But instead, they woke up one morning and saw that, well, tariff has been increased overnight, unknown to them. The government even blatantly disregarded the legislature, the existence of the legislature, thereby getting into a contract, signing a contract with a company unknown to the legislature. We know that, yes, even this ad hoc committee, at the end, the very lawmakers will come back and give us romantic speeches to accept that, yes, okay, the government did this and all of that. They're just going to doctor that, just polish it. We know dress the whole thing just to ensure that, well, the government is not painted ugly. But in every respect, the government is wrong. The government has blundered. The government should not have. BVAC is a legal company operating here. For any reason you want to get rid of BVAC, okay, contract expire, as is reported. But for any reason you want to replace BVAC with another company, don't you think that should go through a bidding process? You think you are a government. Who took the decision? Is it the port, the National Port Authority? Or who did that? Who actually took the decision? So, well, committee that's headed by Senator Representative, because no one has been elected in his district. There's been no election. Election has not been conducted in his district. So he still appears like he's a representative of District 1 and at the same time senator of Bomi County. So most of the time we forget that he's a senator. So we hope that Representative Senator Snow will take care of will take care of the situation, will investigate properly, will lead with responsibility, will lead responsibly in ensuring that the government of Liberia can explain to the public why it got into a contract, signed a contract with an individual, with a company unknown to the legislature. But at the same time, while we are talking about that, remember the Internal Affairs Minister said in the case of the protest that was staged by some truck drivers and other people in solidarity with the family of Aliyu Sharif, the truck driver that was killed by the Liberia National Police, the Internal Affairs Minister said, instead of the death of that young man drawing the president's attention, it is the protest that drew the president's attention. All right. So it's the same in the case with the vessel in question. Yesterday, the family members jointly had a press conference. Currently, we've not heard anything that this situation has drawn the attention of the president whatsoever. But maybe if the people stage a protest and they besiege the foreign ministry office of the president, that is now the executive mansion, maybe that's the time it's going to draw his attention. Why should leaders sit down and wait for people, and wait for people to take action, to act in a certain way that sometimes appear disorderly before they take action towards regarding a particular situation that the people are talking about. Another thing quickly that we also just want to squeeze in is the good news from the Ministry of Transport, that there's been some adjustment made in licensing fees. So I think for taxi drivers, instead of $150 US, it's now been dropped to $75. Bus drivers, instead of $250, is now being, I'm talking about commercial drivers, right? It's now been dropped to $150. Tricyclist, instead of $150, I think it's around $50. Instead of 75, it's around $50 now, or $75 thereabout. So the motorcyclists remain at a rate of 25. So this reduction in your registration process, that next registration, that's why you're going to be paying. It means that you should also consider reducing the transportation fare. But Ministry of Transport, here is the recommendation I have for you. By reducing the registration, exercise of drivers and so on, that does not suggest in any way that transportation should automatically drop, because that is registration for a year. How about gasoline that they buy? If the price is at a certain level, they will certainly charge at that level. So maybe we may have to also consider ensuring that we maintain enough gasoline, get enough gasoline in the country so that people would not don't have to buy gasoline at a high price, thereby going on to hike the price of transportation. But let's go to Egypt, where a young Liberian is seen in a video circulating on social media, crying loud for help, that she was fooled. She, along with some of her friends, were deceived that they were going to Italy for a job, that their jobs, opportunities, and so to Italy, and they were going. But unfortunately, they landed in Egypt. And since they landed there, it's been difficult for them to even get a job. Life is unbearable for them. We can just imagine, most especially ladies, you can just imagine what they're currently experiencing in that area. The vulnerability is something that you cannot just, overemphasize. So that she did this video and then it's circulating on social media. So I saw it on a friend's page, thought to also join the advocacy to ensure that relevant government agencies or authorities, like the Ministry of Labor that has the human trafficking section there, can also see the need to see how we can get these Liberians, if she's the only person, get her back home, let her start life here. And the advice that we have to give to some of you, our sisters, our brothers, our young sisters, Liberia is tough, we know, yeah, but people are still making life here. Liberia is difficult, yes, we know, but people are still paying children's school fees. Liberia is difficult, yes, we have terrible leadership in this country, but yes, people are still waking up in the morning, breaking a smile, hoping that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. So if you do not bear patience, if you do not exercise patience, you want to jump the gun, trust me. This is how sometimes we most of the time end up going through difficulties. I hope that you can get a rescue anytime soon so that you can get back home, take a sober reflection, think before you leap next time. Let's listen to her now. No, it doesn't sound good at all. I think the only people that are benefiting from, just keep it on there. The people that are benefiting from the video right now are the ones on social media, because her eyes are bleeding with tears. You can see that she's really, really devastated. We hope that the audio is not really clear. You can see that even where she sat down to do this recording, had her heart somewhere. She's not even speaking loud, because by speaking loud, she may be that you want to blow an alarm or so. Her head, everything is just. I don't want to really give you that. It's an emotional video I'm watching right now, and you listening, maybe following the program this morning. We're calling on the Liberia Immigration Service, calling on the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Justice, to see how you people can get this lady back. If someone says to you that they're feeling pain, you are not in that person's body. All right. So it is only the person that feels the pain can tell you what exactly they're experiencing. You're not really going to hear it clearly what she's saying, because I think something is really not right with where she recorded this video. But it's an SOS. Okay, let's hear a little bit. And she can't really speak clearly. You see, so yeah, we just have to right. We're joining all of you, like-minded media colleagues who first raised this issue to ensure that this lady gets the kind of support that she needs right now as she's stranded there in Egypt. Because she's saying we, so she's not the only person. Maybe there are about 6, 7, 8, or 9, 10 persons that were promised that they would have been taken to Italy for a job, but unfortunately they ended up in Egypt. They're still in Africa, so they've not gone, they've not crossed the Mediterranean. So I think there's a way that we can still get them back. But the advice that we have to send across, the IOM is doing everything possible every time nowadays to ensure that if you check on social media, you check the IOM page, you'll see short videos of former migrants, right? Those who travel, got stranded in places, and they return. They did a short video, a testimonial video, that when I travel at this place, this is what I went through, blah, blah, blah. They explain all of these things. So I think these videos are basically to educate the public, the general public, young people who are sitting down planning every time, to ensure that they prepare something, rise slow way, get on a ship, find a way, get out of here to road or whatever. You just have to be careful. It's a dangerous adventure. Well, it's always good. It's good to take risk in life because risk sometimes leads to, prosperity. If you do not try, you've done nothing at all. In fact, our motivational message this morning is from Okanahio, a veteran Nigerian actor. We're going to read that for you at the end of the program. So we just want to join all of you out there who are calling for support for this lady, to ensure that, continue doing it, and we in the media are going to do so as well. So let me get back to something quickly that we talked about yesterday before we put the pressing on the line. Then we will, again, our valuable listeners, the weather is very cold, so almost all of us here are affected. I mean, not all of us here are Sky. Many of us in the country are affected by this cold. So this is an open letter to President George M. Weah. President Weah, probably yesterday you did not listen, or somebody close to you did not listen. So as an informant, as a communicator, I thought to bring this again to let you know, because you don't want to say that you don't want people coming up with excuse that we didn't hear this thing in the media. The media is doing everything to ensure that you pay attention to what is unfolding there in Kari. What people, your defenders will come, and the president cannot be everywhere, and so. But the president, if the president was just requesting weekly report from all of his officials, weekly, at least every 2 weeks. So in a month time, by the way, the man at the NTA will report twice. The man at Labor will report twice. Everybody will have a time to discuss with the president and explain how work is ongoing. By that time, the president may have gathered some information that if the president does not report on those other things, the president can ask questions and do some follow-up and challenge the person to deliver. I'm very sure some of the mistakes, some of the errors we see nowadays, we're not going to be seeing them. But anyway, as it is. So Dr. Nyakwe Joma works with Kari. Dr. Nyakwe Joma, by the way, is he's the acting head, director of Livestock, Aquaculture, Fishery Program, Central Agricultural Research Institute. Kari is in Swakopmund County. Dr. Joma has been going through a lot there at Kari, and then he did this letter finally after experiencing that challenges and he's not getting redress to his problems. He did an open letter and shared it with a number of people, the media, as well as legal-minded people, international partners, to explain to them about what is unfolding at Kari. He said, "Dear Mr. President, greetings. It saddens me, however, constrained due to previous mails and visits unattended to, leaves no option but write this open letter to a 1983 classmate, now president, and have local and international human rights advocates, diplomatic corps, Liberia National Bar Association, print and electronic media, and religious institutions copy it. Pardon me. I am Nyakwe D. Joma, a civil servant, been working with the Central Agricultural Research Institute, CARI, in Bond County beginning 2011 to 2012, and currently I am the acting head director of livestock, aquaculture, fishery program, as well as a MacArthur Foundation fellow. All went well at CARI until 2019. Until 2019 appointment of a female officer in charge, for which I rather not burden you with details of what transpired, Mr. President, because that outcome is known almost throughout Liberia, beyond our borders and overseas. Mr. President, the crime I committed at CARI as head and director of program was a mail to prevent approximately 500,000 USD donor money intended to benefit almost 20,000 fish farmers from being stolen, which was for fish ponds, construction, training fish farmers, and preparation of fish meals, which would have had a trigger-down effect on the economy, had procedure been followed. I did my duty, upheld integrity, and made the appropriate decision being head of program, thus scoring our government applause internationally and locally. Dr. Nyakwe Joma, by the way, he represented the government of Liberia in making sure that this donor fund, get to CARI. Permit me to reference names with addresses of the held donors in the United States of America I wrote, who are also copied here for your verification and validation. Number one, Karen Duca. Email address is here. John Mendedrop. Email address is also here. For that decision I made, then I am now being persecuted through arbitrary arrest and detention without probable cause. Denial of court's ruling, not respecting the rule of law, family denied right to life, happiness, work, and free movement. Family lived in constant fear, kept under surveillance at CARI, caused psychological and physical torture and trauma, engineered and had my residence at CARI broken into and looted, while perpetrators are currently in CARI's employed, protected, and promoted. Threats of death had me signed contract against my will, requested a waiver exonerating perpetrators, thereby boosting the culture of impunity, which I refused, requested a good behavior bond, and most appalling is the intentional withholding of my allotted salary since October 2019 to March 21, while I work at CARI without pay, unlike others. This is abuse and humiliation at its highest. Principles have driven my actions, President Weah. Hence, I therefore again kindly appeal you intervene. Have me paid at CARI for work I have CARI over the period of 18 months. Interestingly, the current officer in charge is very concerned, however, something or someone somewhere seems to interfere thereby, preventing him proceed with payment, consequently rendering my office, home at CARI, and residence in Monrovia barraged by business houses and people I am obligated to. In fact, this is a daily routine which have made me ineffective at work and not at peace at home. In view of the foregoing, kindly get involved so as to ensure I get paid for the 18 months of service I rendered our government. Finally, an appeal to local and international human rights advocates, diplomatic corps, Liberia National Bar Association, print and electronic media, religious institutions, and the general public to kindly request on my behalf, President Weah intervene and end this saga, which is unhealthy not only for CARI, but equally Liberia. I wait patiently for your intervention as the president, yet a public servant, while I continued the path of being law-abiding, trusting the rule of law still works at least sometimes. Accept my assurances of the highest esteem. Sincerely yours, Dr. Nyakwe D. Joma, PhD, MPhil, MSc, BSc. He's now acting head and director, Livestock Aquaculture Fishery Program. Yesterday when I read, I did not tell you all of the people he CC copied. So he CC copied the president, the Liberia National Bar Association, Nigerian Embassy, U.S. Embassy, ECOWAS, Swedish Embassy, EU Behead, Liberia Council of Churches, Muslim Council of Liberia, United Methodist Human Rights Monitor, CARI, Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, Justice Forum Liberia, Civil Society Organization, Access to Justice and Legal Aid, UL Golden Class, BWI Alumni Association, University of Ibadan. He graduated from there also. The MacArthur Foundation USA, Winners Chapel, Congo Town, Seventh-day Adventist Church. He's just seeking redress, and whomever he can reach out to ensure that the person gets involved in ensuring that in helping to encourage the president to get involved in this matter. That's all he wants. So you see that even CC Cape, the Seventh-day Adventist Church as well. So it's very important that we keep this thing on the air to ensure that the president hears this, and if launch another investigation into what is unfolding right now at CARI. But we're going to get Dr. Joma on the line for a few minutes before we open the lines this morning. You're listening to Straight from the Heart and Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock. Today is Friday, and today is the 6th day of we are waiting to get Dr. Joma on the line to hear from you briefly. But also, yes, let me quickly get to the Facebook page and read a few comments coming from some of you, the viewers on the program this morning, who've highlighted a number of developments here. Dr. Joma is on the line. Let's quickly put him through, so that we can hear from him what has happened so far since yesterday we spoke with him, whether there has been any intervention, whether he sees sign that there's going to be, a redress to this matter. Dr. Joma, good morning once again. Welcome.
Good morning, Matthias, and good morning, Liberians. I'm glad to be on your show this morning. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you.
Via phone from CARI.
Thank you. Yeah, you're joining us from CARI this morning. So yesterday we spoke again on this particular letter. Like I said, our intention is to keep this letter on until your matter can be addressed. But what has happened so far? Yesterday, since you shared the letter to many people, I'm very sure the CARI boss, the acting head over there, the officer in charge over there has also read your letter. What have you heard? What has happened so far, sir?
Well, thanks for hosting me again, and at least to bring this to the attention of Liberian people and His Excellency, President George Manuel Weah and his able lieutenants. Yesterday, I understood. I was in my office from one of my colleagues, and he told me that the officer in charge, Honorable Sumo, Victor Sumo, was angry. That's why he told me not to Sumo. And in fact, I sat at the office door of Honorable Sumo yesterday. And as I said, the rule of law has got to suffice. I did not prevent Honorable Sumo from entering his office. No. I sat next to the office door waiting on him to address my concerns.
Did you have an interaction with him when he came? Because surely, yes. Okay, what did he say?
Yes, I did. After a couple of hours, because when Dr. Molaba told me, he said, well, Sumo is very angry. And in fact, I see you at his door waiting on him. So you are also angry. I said, no, I'm not angry. I'm just waiting to Dr. Sumo to address my concern as my boss. And Sumo came a couple of hours later, and he said, Dr. Joma, yeah, I'm here. I said, yeah, can we go into your office? And he told me, he said, well, Dr. Joma, you have your hand into your bag. I said, yeah, my hand into my bag.
And what was your hand in what? In one of the pockets of the bag or in a rope?
Hanging on my shoulder. I had my bag hanging on my shoulder, and I rested my hand into the bag, And he said,
in one of the pockets?
Whether into the pocket or into the bag where I keep my laptop. It was really yesterday and pretty cold. So
okay.
There's a tendency that you put your hands into your pocket or you put it into the bag or something. Dr. Sumo, he came closer. I said, well, can we go into the office? And he said, well, no, and he just turned around and got into his car and he left for Monrovia. And so I told the accountant, I said, well, then I'm going to follow Dr. Sumo Monrovia for him to address my concern, even at his home. Because there's no way I'm an employee since 2011, you will hold on to my salary. He held on to my salary for July. And he has taken his salary home, he and his family. They are happy. Why would he hold on to mine? So
Basically,
that was one of my concerns. And the other concern was, why do you protect people that looted the homes and looted carry? You protect them and you give them position. Why? So those were basically two of my concerns, not the arrears. The arrears I've already asked or I've written an open letter to the Honorable President to address, and I believe President Weah will address that letter in due course.
Now, what is also concerning is that you saved Carrie $500,000. This money in question, is it still in Carrie's account?
No, the money did not even enter the account of Carrie. This money was sent from, it was to have been sent from BHER.
Okay.
And it was like Dr. Joma should be a secretary to this account. John said that he wanted meetings at the Chinese building.
Yeah.
And Billa came in. She did not make me a secretary. And that morning, I understood from BHER they were about to wire the money, about $485,000 basically for the construction of fish ponds, for cleaning of fish farmers, and for preparation of fish ration. It's one of the major constraints we go through in Africa, or specifically Liberia.
You talk about Finlay. You talk about Finlay. You talk about Madam Paulette Finlay.
Yeah, Paulette Finlay.
Yeah, Paulette Finlay.
That Sumo succeeded. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And she did not. And when BHER called, she told BHER, yeah, Dr. Joma is a secretary, and I wasn't. And I had to do a communication to BHER that, no, I'm not a secretary. And she wanted me to say, yes, indeed, I'm a secretary to the account. So that wasn't the procedure. And given the circumstances, you saw what happened to the Senate hearing on Carrie just about a month ago. You see how bad it was. And so I just couldn't, my profession, and being the head of program for livestock and stay the head for livestock, aquaculture, and fishery program, I had to make the appropriate decision. And I tell you, with Jesus Christ above, if similar situation occurred, I will make similar decision again.
You will not succumb to looting Carrie of its resources. That's what you're saying.
I did not.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to succumb to looting Carrie of its resources.
Definitely not. I will not. I haven't, and I will definitely do not such a thing.
And so this is where your problem at Carrie all started.
Exactly. This is where the problem is. In fact, the last meeting we held with Minister Eugene Fagon, called him in America and asked him at the Minister of Foreign Finance in his office. We were three. Who were those in that meeting? Missy Johnson, from Access to Justice and Legal Aid, Reverend Kennedy G. of the Lutheran Church, Victor Sumo, Honorable Victor Sumo, and another person were there in that meeting we held on January in the office. It was Honorable McGill that instructed Minister Fagon to go through this thing to see where the problem lies. And in that meeting, Minister Fagon said, oh, Dr. Joma, I see. You are just not a team player like the others, so that's where your problem lies. You have done nothing wrong. Sumo, Dr. Joma done nothing wrong. And my recommendation to the Minister of State would be reinstate Joma. And I said, no, take it easy. It's not a matter of reinstatement, because I'm not dismissed. When you say reinstate, it means you are dismissed. But I'm already an employee. The only thing Carrie is doing is holding on to my resources. Why? Because I did not allow $500,000 to get stolen. I did not allow them. Well, they did take away the containers and other things. I said that happened. I protested and I wrote letters to that. In fact, nothing came out of it. But the money, basically $500,000, that somebody just want to steal something that should benefit 20,000 Liberian fish farmers in, I think, 3 counties. One person want to take it and put it in his pocket and share it. That's not going to happen. It will not happen. Look, national interest above that of personal interest, Labindi.
Dr. Joma, yeah, that's a good point. But you're talking about leaving from Carrie now to get to town here to follow the current, officer in charge. And so you've already done a communication that you share to many people. Now, Sky FM is helping you in the process of, of this advocacy. And so, do you think it's a good idea? It's a wise idea to leave your family in Cary, giving already talking about they live in fear, and so to come to Monrovia when the officer in charge is still going to go back to Cary, and you two still going to have an interaction? Don't you think it's something that you should just stay and keep following up on the letter with the president and several persons? Given that in 1983 the president was even your classmate, maybe this is also an advantageous point for you.
Well, as I said, I always subscribe to the rule of law. My reason why I think I need to meet the officer in charge at his residence because he did not afford me the opportunity to speak with him. I'm not committing any crime. He is my boss, and if he has held on to my July salary, and I want to know what is he doing so that I get paid, and additionally, those people that have committed crime, atrocity, they are protected. What can he do about that? I don't think it's wrong. And my family, point of correction, do not live with me here at Cary, basically because of the same reason.
Okay.
My family lives Monrovia. So, by virtue of me going to Monrovia, first I ought to see my family. And next, to see if I can find Dr. Sumo. I mean, yesterday it was very cordial. It was a very cordial interaction, but he did not speak. And he fled off, got into a vehicle, and fled and left. So I'm not in a way going to break the law. I would definitely not. I did not break the law before. I will not break the law now. Never will I. Because if we all begin to breach the law, where are we going as a nation? It's only trouble, and more trouble. And who suffers? Not only us, or not only Joma, but generally, the government suffers. These kind of things, when go into the public domain, into the public space, there are a lot of things that it prevents from coming to Liberia. And so we want to amicably settle it. I don't care. No matter how war is fought, we have to come to the table to sit. And in that case, we have not fought a war. We have not gotten to the truth of each other. It's just a matter of sitting down and understanding. Tell me, Labini, please, and let Liberian people judge for themselves. I stopped you for stealing $500,000. It won international acclaim. Tell me, you came and said, well, if Dr. Joma is the problem, let's get you away from Cary. You proposed a story. You said Dr. Joma, you forced signature and stole $10,000 Liberian dollars. I pick up. I said, let's go to the court. You never went to the court once, twice, 4, 5 times. You refused because you cannot defend a lie. You didn't show anything. You had the police to arrest me here, put me in jail. At the end of the day, they could threw up the whole story after credit. I mean, everybody knew it was a nonsense. Blamo Dixon, he is there. He threw up everything. Tell me, if you say, well, I will hold your salary until the case finishes. The case finishes. You don't think you're supposed to pay me for the amount of time you have my salary? Do I have to go to court? And because I know the concerned government is through, and Councillor Gongolo and other legal practitioners know what we are all going through in Liberia, so they try to use the ADR method, alternative dispute resolution.
Okay.
Look, let's try to give the gentleman his money. Because if we do go to court, believe me, as Jesus Christ lives and walk this life, it will not be $30,000 government owe me. It will be almost $2 or $3 million for human rights abuse violation. And the evidence are there. They are clear. If you read the gap of my letter to the president, I did not call names. I never called names of who responsible to get me into this situation. The arbitrary arrest, the detention, the prison, the holding onto my salary, the psychological trauma, people breaking my residence, I did not call names. People were used, about 4 or 5 persons were used, and that somebody in authority is responsible for that.
Okay.
If we reach to the extent where we'll have to call names, I will be unflinched, and I will not hold to live my life and do what I can do for my country, and then be happy with my family. Nobody should take that away from me as they have done. So I'm calling on the president. Please, President, I'm your old class. Yes, I can give you evidence that we were in school together. Please do something. I have done nothing wrong to you. I'm not against your government. I did only to protect your government, and that's who I am, and that's who I will be.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joma. We're going to keep on this until, by the grace of God, you can get a redress to your situation.
Right, but thank you, Labindi, and thank you to the Liberian people. I look forward to appearing on other radio stations in Monrovia in the not too distant future, maybe a couple of days from now.
Okay.
And I think I got an invitation from an international institution, a press, for me to appear on one of their shows.
Okay.
But I'm still giving you time here to see where we go, because going on those kind of media again, yeah, I want to accomplish my aim, and that's for the Liberian people, but it's not a good thing for the country. President Weah is a very, very old friend, a good friend of mine. I remember those days, 1983 in Scarborough. In fact, the controversial goal that was scored on the Tottenham High Field, 1983, that ended the match. But that ended the match because there was a net behind the pool. And those days after he took a shot, I mean, he was good. Oh, he's been a good guy when he plays the football well. And when he scored that goal, because there was a hole at the end of the net, so people said, no, it wasn't a goal. But the ball was sitting there. But the net was open and they passed behind. And I think that one ended the battle that day. Cowboy, and I think I forgot the other team. And everybody went home. And George Weah, he was a clean.
I tell you.
He's a very good friend of mine.
All right. Thank you. We wish you well, Dr. Joma.
Thank you, Labindi, and thank you to the Liberian people and Sky FM for hosting me.
Thank you. He's Dr. Nyakwe Joma. He works there at Kari. With a few minutes left, let's have a conversation with you. Call us on the numbers 07777 221 the numbers you can call us and to participate on the program this morning. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. Let me read out a few comments while your calls are coming in. Pastor, yeah, good morning.
Thank you, Matthias. Let me appreciate you for this platform.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
My name is Aman Kosborn Nebe, and I joined the conversation from edition number 15.
Mr. Nebe, go ahead.
Maya, the concluding position of the doctor, I don't know as to whether it was meant to, actually, I don't know the intent, but I sincerely admire his concluding point. And I don't like to use the medium to call on the president and all the relevant authorities to ensure that they launch a comprehensive investigation into the unfoldings at Kari. I mean, you don't want to have the kind of a situation being flagged in the public. It sent a very bad image of the government. It sent a very ugly image as to how we treat human in this country. I'm not saying that all of those points made by the doctor is correct. But again, the only way we can establish it is to launch an investigation. That's why I'm using this medium to call on the relevant authority to launch investigation and put an end to this issue. I mean, Mata, it has been a long time we've been hearing about Kari and the doctor.
Yeah.
You know, we've been hearing controversies surrounding Kari and the doctor. So we want an investigation to put an end to this involving him and Kari.
Thank you.
There's no need for a service. I mean, just come in there, just settle him. Let me do with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nebe. Let's hear from this other person here on this other side of the line.
Good morning, Mata.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Yes, this is Arvin S. Fakbana. I am the PR national movement in support of the CDC. Like I said, I'm Muslim, and I called from Moravia this morning.
You didn't call from your office again this morning. Go ahead. Make your point.
Thank you for your analysis. And what really got my attention is about the issue about the honorable man for race. I mean, it is quite unfortunate in this kind of modern world where people are sacrificing their life, sacrificing their strength, their time to work for the government as to how or where the government can improve in terms of their performances. Then we will have another people who start marginalizing it. It is quite unfortunate. So I'm just want to use the meeting also to call upon the president to see how best he can intervene in that matter. I mean, I think it will be prudent enough to see a very energetic man that is striving to see how best people are the backstabbing. It is quite unfortunate. Thank you.
This morning, Mr. Dragging for a year now. I really don't think the president is not in the know of the situation, as Minister Magio is aware of the unfolding. The president, as a humanitarian, as we consider him to be, should have intervened ever since. Dr. Joma protested in front of the foreign ministry for months. So how can the president not be in the know of this heartless situation that another human being is going through, most especially a doctor? John T. Pele says, I don't think they are understanding what he is saying. They haven't realized that he is using their ignorance to get rich. He's referring to Apostle Johnson Suleiman. Of course, that's what. He's using the ignorance of the congregation to get rich. And there are people who wake up there and go pay tithe to him so he can buy the fourth jet, private jet. Oh my God. Help us rescue our souls. Pastor Philip Bobo Joshua says, the devil has come to steal, kill, and destroy, but Jesus Christ has come to give life. The main background of the gospel is to give us life. In such, you should know that those who pray for people to suffer should be operating hand in glove with Satan. You see, this is a pastor saying that the fact that this man of God would even get on his pulpit to preach and say, I was praying. He didn't say, I really wish. It was not just an imagination. He was praying the same way he prays for people to get better. He was praying that COVID-19 should not end. It has not ended, by the way. So Apostle Johnson Suleiman, continue to enjoy your rest. So your wife is now enjoying life. She says, according to him, my wife said, is it how life can be sweet? So in your church, oh my God. Look, Apostle Suleiman, I don't get it. Your wife, since you got married to her, she's not experienced the sweetness of life until the coming of COVID-19. Oh my God. Let's hear from this person, John. My Nigerian friends. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Let's hear you. Nyamfa, your line is coming in very, very low, so you have to adjust, Hello? Oh, sorry, Nyamfa left the line. Martin also said, Matthias, the current head of CARI is taking instructions from higher ups. That's why he's afraid to listen to Dr. Joma's concern. I agree with you. I agree, Martin. I agree. And Pastor Philip is still here. He said the love of money is the root of evil. Okay, let's hear from this person. Hello?
Yeah, good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
And good morning to the conscious man and appearance.
Go ahead.
My name is Emmanuel Fukatiwe. I do join you from the borough of Sudan this morning.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Let me appreciate this morning, Matthias, for, a folio opportunity on your platform.
Go ahead, sir.
Matthias, when I listen to Dr. Juma, I said, bad person. What kind of country we living in when people work to get their pay? It is, it is bad. I listened to him, and that man, I know him, the manager who control CARI, asking the dealership of that country where that institute, located. I think they need to come in and investigate that matter because that man has a family. He cannot be working, while getting a pay. So I want to encourage him to reach the lawmaker within our country and the senator, at least to call on the government to see how better they can get a pay so his family can live a happy life. Thank you for putting me down this morning.
Thanks for the contribution on the program as well this morning. And let me just read a few more comments here. He said, the pastor continued, Pastor Philip Bobo Joshua said, the love of money is the root of evil. When people get much money and they are it, that is their source of what the end of speaking evil and doing wicked things. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. He started speaking evil against the very congregation, against the very flocks that he claims to be leading. He started speaking evil, against them. That I was praying for COVID-19. I was praying for COVID-19, to not end because my wife is enjoying her relaxation. Apostle Johnson Suleiman, I don't know what kind of wine you drank that morning, like maybe sort to pour to Timothy to drink a little wine. I hope you didn't drink more than the little wine that that was instructed Timothy to drink. You maybe drank more, right? Because to say that, listen, the only thing for me personally I want is to ensure that COVID-19 remains in the country, so that, in fact, I just bought a private jet. Oh, really? Probably we can get something to eat in our own houses. We come to church here and listen to you. Only thing you have to tell us is that you bought a third private jet, and now you are, saying COVID-19 should not even end. The World Health Organization should deal with that man. should get to him and then let him explain to the people. That is wickedness to the core. But quickly, let me give you a motivational message this morning. It comes from a veteran Nigerian actor. Like I said, he goes by the name Okanahio. Many of you have watched his movies. He's a man who likes acting the blood movies a lot. And he says, if what you did yesterday still looks big to you, then you've not done much today. There are many of us who look at our achievements and we relax on our achievement. We don't want to do anything more to improve ourselves. Listen, you've done nothing. The new day that you have, you've not done anything good with the new day. My name is Matthias Labindi. Join us this evening for another fascinating edition of the program, Nothing to Hide.
Allowing people from
acceptance that the Taliban will be a major force, if not the major power in the country. 20 years on, who are the Taliban and what do